And describe what you saw happen.
He had his firearm out, pointing at Kyle.
Okay. And as the gun's pointing at Kyle, what happened?
Kyle shot Mr. Grosskreutz.
How close was Kyle Rittenhouse and Mr. Grosskreutz from your vantage point?
If I would have to have guessed, under 3 feet.
Now, you were originally subpoenaed by the state, correct?
Correct.
You met with the state representatives, Mr. Binger and Mr. Krause, correct?
Correct.
And there was some tension in that room, correct?
There was.
And they weren't happy with what you were telling them. Is that a fair statement?
That's a fair statement.
I'm going to ask, A, it is leading, and B, I want no reaction. Facial reaction, please.
Describe your meeting with Mr. Binger and Mr. Krause in their office.
Object to relevance.
Answer it.
Please.
I don't know the date off the top of my head, but I was called down to the district attorney's office. I met with Mr. Binger and I don't remember his name.
The individual who's
In the blue. And I was called into a room, sat at a table, handed my police statement, got to read over my police statement, and then I was asked if I would like to add anything to the police statement, and I said I would not. Mr. Binger pulled out a cell phone and showed me a video and also a photo, which was actually one photo that I brought today, and asked me if I knew who a gentleman was in that photo, and I said I did not. And he asked me to, he said this is Joshua Zeminski. Mr. Binger also has a case with him, and I am subpoenaed for that case also. And he says, well, that's who that is. He put the phone down, he picked the phone back up and says, who is this? And I confusedly said, like, Joshua Zeminski, and he's like, would you like to add that to your statement? And I just felt I didn't want to change my statement.
okay. And as a result, what did you do?
I hired an attorney.
And that's Mr. Rose.
Yes.
Add nothing further. Your Honor, I'd like to move the pictures into evidence.
Is there objection?
Except for the ones that are objected to relevancy, no.
Well, there was one that I guess there were two that I sustained objection. The remainder will be
Two
received.
of the two big ones.
The two big ones, and then the third big one wasn't even presented. So all the big ones are rejected. Well, two of the big ones are rejected. One of the big ones was not offered. I'm sure they'll be very happy wherever it goes when they're defined as the big ones. But all of the smaller numbered photographs are received.
And I would ask that they be published to the jury, that Mr. Krause can cross-examine first.
His preference?
That's fine.
Okay.
Mr. DeBruin, you said there was a lot of tension in the room when you met with me and Mr. Binger and Ms. Beasy.
Yes.
Is it fair to say that you were very nervous?
Yeah, absolutely.
And we did have you read over your statement, right?
Correct.
And we asked if you knew anything beyond that statement.
Correct.
We didn't ask you to change it.
Yes, you did.
So you said we asked to change it to identify Mr. Zeminski?
Yes. Or if I wanted to change any details if I remember anything else throughout that night, and to add Joshua Zeminski.
Now, we met for the case against Kyle Rittenhouse, correct?
Correct.
Is it fair to say that most of the discussion involved Mr. Zeminski?
I would say probably half of it.
Because Attorney Binger is prosecuting Mr. Zeminski for arson.
Apparently.
And you took a number of pictures of that perhaps include Mr. Zeminski, correct?
Correct.
So Mr. Binger was verifying if you knew that was Mr. Zeminski and asked you if you saw him in some pictures.
Apparently, and at the time, again, I did not know who Joshua Zeminski was.
Now,
Just that I was subpoenaed to be a witness in his trial.
so why would, so your testimony is that the state, in the case against Kyle Rittenhouse, wanted you to present incriminating evidence against Mr. Zeminski?
I don't know why he asked me that question. I found it odd too.
Is it possible you didn't understand the question?
No, he was pretty clear.
And then you said you went and you hired an attorney.
I did.
How did the meeting end?
What do you mean, how the meeting ended?
I mean, how did our meeting end?
Our meeting or with my attorney?
No, I can't ask about your attorney. I mean our meeting in my office with Mr. Binger and Ms. Beasy.
It ended with Mr. Binger saying that he would be in touch with me in regards to the Zeminski case.
Because we indicated that we would subpoena you for that case.
You did subpoena me for that case.
And that was the absolute end of the meeting?
That I recall.
Do you remember that afterwards you and I spoke about your photography and I complimented your photography? We talked about your photography.
That was in the beginning.
And at the end?
Mostly in the beginning because we were waiting for Mr. Binger to get in the room because, I don't know, Heather, maybe her name was in the room and we were just waiting for Mr. Binger to get in the room. Is when you asked me that, to be correct.
So we never asked you to put anything in about or change anything about Kyle Rittenhouse?
Not specifically, no.
Because Kyle Rittenhouse, that name doesn't even appear in your statement, does it?
I don't think so. Not to my knowledge.
And so the discussion about changing statements, did we actually ask you to retype your statement out?
No.
So what do you mean we asked you to change it?
I'm assuming there wasn't details, but I'm assuming either add Kyle's name or because I was also showing a video off of a cell phone by Mr. Binger. I don't know what that video or whose video that was, but it was of the shooting. And that's when I was asked if I wanted to add anything else to that statement, and I said no.
And you took that literally, like actually writing out your statement?
Yeah.
You did not take that to mean, is there anything your statement doesn't cover or that we should know?
No.
You said literally we would retype the statement that you took November 11th.
Well, he didn't say retype it, but he said, do I want to add anything to that? And to how I interpret that, that's pretty much altering my statement, and I felt uneasy about that.
You added things to your statement on the stand today.
That was because I recall in videos of certain things happening. That when the day I gave my statement, when I walked to the police station, when I walked into that police station, there wasn't even a glass door on that.
So how is, I'm sorry, how is that different than what Attorney Binger asked? Did you want to add anything? How is that any different besides than asking if you remember other things?
When I had a meeting with Mr. Richards the following night, I want to say, the following day, around like maybe 3:30 at his office.
Mm-hmm.
And I was also showing videos there. And prior to things happening in those videos, I was saying things that actually were just about to happen. And he asked me, do you mind if I bring this up? And I said, absolutely. But I did not change. I did not alter that statement. I did not write a new statement out.
So no one asked you to write a new statement?
No, not to write a new statement, just add
So
or alter.
we both asked the same thing, if you knew more beyond what your statement said.
But the way Mr. Binger wanted it, how he portrayed it to me was to add on to my statement physically. Mr. Richards just took notes.
Did someone ask you to type out a new statement?
I'm telling you how I perceived it.
You have a bias in this case, don't you? You don't want Mr. Rittenhouse to be found guilty or not guilty?
Oh, wait a minute. You don't want him to be found guilty or not guilty?
You don't have an interest or a bias in which way this trial comes out?
I don't know. I'm
Did
a
you-
photographer, photojournalist. That's what I do. I take photos.
Did you go and give an interview to a gossip site that is biased against the district attorney?
I don't know what his site represents.
So you actually went to the media, or someone who claims to be media, to talk about this meeting with the prosecutors.
First of all, he came to me, I didn't go to him. Let's make that clear.
And you understand that he has a bias in this case.
I don't know. I don't know him personally. I'm sorry.
What's the objection?
Well, let's do this. We need to take one more break before the day's done anyway. So why don't we take just a 10-minute break? And please don't talk about the case during the break.